was looking through the comments of the last episode, and it was really interesting to find that so many of you were so excited to realize that this episode was next. Because it's the Golduck episode, right? Because it's the Golduck episode, right? We begin today's episode with the narrator telling us all about a floating theatre where the actors, singers, and dancers are all Pokemon. Immediately, we can infer one very specific thing about this episode. Oh, it's gonna be cringy as all hell, isn't it? The intro to today's episode that appears before the title card literally just consists of the narrator telling us the showboat exists, Misty saying they should probably go on it, and Ash saying, "Let's go!" Not really the most inspired introduction to an episode, is it? I mean, come on, Pokemon, at least try and make us excited for this one. Right from the get-go, this episode makes me so glad that Pokemon don't actually speak English. Aside from Team Rocket's Meowth, it always sounds super awkward. It's the kind of awkward where if your family walked in and heard this, you'd just feel super embarrassed to be watching it. Now, I know that in this instance, this isn't actually the Pokemon talking, spoiler alert. Like, I know they're just moving their mouths while a human does the voiceover, but honestly, that's the only reason I'm giving this a pass. Direct quote from Hitmonchan. "Cross counter punch! That's not a move!" Imagine how awkward it would be if they wanted Hitmonchan to wear the blue gloves. Like, picture how difficult it would be to try and pull a pair of boxing gloves over a pair of pre-existing boxing gloves. I guess it's lucky they didn't mind the good guy having the red gloves. Come to think of it, I wonder if Hitmonchan can take their gloves off and we just haven't seen it. Deviant artists, I see you. Put your pens and your graphics tablets down right now. We do not need to see your artistic vision of this particular relationship. Whilst Ash and friends are watching the show, Togepi hops off Misty's lap and wanders away. Isn't it about time Misty bought a leash for this thing? It's always buggering off when it's supposed to stay with Misty. Misty, mate, if you're gonna act like Togepi's mum, you need to start taking better care of it. Ash comments that Meowth isn't the only Pokemon that can talk after all, and at first I thought it was just Ash that was stupid. But Tracey chimes in to say he's never seen anything like it. Wait, so both of them believe this is real? And I don't see Misty correcting them, so does she believe it too? Our protagonists are all complete numpties. Pass it on. I often wonder what Togepi must be thinking as it saunters off like this, but right now I'm wondering how lax the security must be here if literally anybody can just wander up the stairs into the backstage area. That's just asking for trouble. See what I mean? Ash, Misty, and Tracey all make it into the backstage area without even seeing a member of staff. It's lucky there are no lunatics on this boat, or some of those actors could be in real danger. Granted, there will be some lunatics joining them on the boat very soon. We then get the big reveal that the Pokemon aren't really talking. It was just a bunch of human voice actors all along. How interesting and unpredictable. No, but seriously, if this wasn't obvious to you from the start, then the only explanation is that you must be a child. In which case, congratulations! You don't have to feel alone anymore. You're a part of something. It's called Pokemon's key demographic. Side note, if you're between the ages of 18 and 49, then yay, you're in my target demographic. On the topic of demographics and analytics and all that boring backstage stuff, make sure you hit the like button. It massively helps out the channel. Don't forget to share the video on social media as well and leave a lovely comment down below. And if you can't think of anything, put something generic like, "Oh mate, I properly forgot about this episode." Or just comment the name of the secret Pokemon that's hidden somewhere in this video. And of course, if you're new here, thank you for giving my channel a chance. Please hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments. This guy doesn't have any lines for this scene, but his face says it all. He knows just how cringy and dumb this show is. He realizes his life surely must have been building to something more than this. Like this? This is his lot in life? This is his career? This is what he's gonna do day in, day out, week after week, year after year for the rest of his life? This man is in pain, and you can read it on his face like an encyclopedia of existential dread. I'm just saying, the others should probably keep an eye on this guy, especially if he stands near the side of the boat. This bird waltzes over to tell Ash to shut his massive yapper because, you know, there's a show going on. But what annoys me here is not once does she ask who they are or what the hell they're doing backstage if they're not part of the cast or crew. Like, is it just me, or should 3 random strangers wandering around backstage be a much bigger issue than anyone's letting on? And here's the reason you might not remember this episode. There's a Jinx in it. An old school blackface Jinx. As a result, this episode doesn't appear on Pokemon TV or on Netflix. The episode order just goes straight from Shell Shock to Bye Bye Psyduck. It's also not included on the more recent releases of the Orange Islands DVD set. It's not a particularly infamous banned episode, but I think it's safe to say it's definitely been shadow banned. On today's episode of things I hoped I'd never see in my life, we have Jinx's feet. That's grim. Side note, the animators couldn't even be bothered to animate Jinx properly, since when it begins to lower its feet back down, they just disappear. This begs the question though, why include Jinx in the first place? Wigglytuff would have been just as good here, if not better. One of the actors suggests that Kay, the girl in blue, gets her Raichu to come out on stage and dance with all the other Pokemon, and Kay is surprised to find that Raichu is all mopey and doesn't want to, even though moments later we find out that this is how Raichu's been for ages. So I don't really get why Kay acts like this is the first time it's ever happened. Direct quote from the guy with the yellow bow tie.
It's awfully sad.
You know, for a moment there, I thought he was talking about me, the 32-year-old man watching a cartoon for 7-year-olds. He's not, right? He's not, right? The boat's crew are happy to give Ash and friends a ride to the next port since they go in that way anyway, but how jammy are Ash and friends getting a free lift like this on such a fancy boat? It's not like they even need it anyway, they've got Lapras. Direct quote from Ash.
I only wish there was something we could do to pay you back for the ride.
I mean, you could pay them, just a thought. Roger, the mustachioed bow tie guy, suggests it'd be a good idea for Ash to give some advice to Kay on getting along with electric-type Pokemon. Yeah, great idea. Have Ash Ketchum, the guy who couldn't even convince his Pikachu to evolve into a Raichu, give someone pointers on how to look after their Raichu. I bet he's a wealth of information.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find it's more to do with how close Ash and Pikachu are compared to Kay and her Raichu.
I mean, yeah, that is why, but still, Ash has never encountered a Raichu quite like Kay's, so what help is he really going to be? Team Rocket are following close behind in their Magikarp sub and start fantasizing about opening their own dinner theatre. But wait, if the three of them are now dancing and standing around talking about their dreams, who's peddling the sub? You ain't going to catch up to that boat if you ain't peddling, mate. Team Rocket, use your noodles. Ash tells Kay to relax and she responds,
Okay.
Wait, why is she talking to herself? Ash starts giving advice to Kay about taking into account a Pokemon's individual personality, and Misty points out that he's simply repeating what Brock taught him. Still though, Ash Ketchum actually taking advice that Brock gave him on board. And better yet, passing that advice on to another person? Ash isn't that smart. Who are you, and what have you done with Ash Ketchum? Ash tells Kay to show him how she and Raichu perform together, and Kay starts reciting the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Mate, it's no wonder Raichu doesn't want to be a part of this. That's such a boring poem. If you want a more enjoyable poem, try this. Beans, beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you... Come on, Ash, you should know better. That's not how it's done. All the times you've seen a stranger try and pet Pikachu and Pikachu have this reaction, and yet you still tried to pet this Raichu? Ash is a numpty. Pass it on. Direct quote from Ash.
After being with Pikachu, nothing shocks me anymore.
I hate to break it to you, mate, but Raichu just shocked you. That's why your skin and clothes look all burnt. Oh my god. The backstory of Kay and Raichu is pretty dark. The day she met her Raichu, it ran up and jumped into her arms for a hug, but shocked her, and her response was to throw it across the room. The poor little bugger bounces off the floor and hits the wall, and apparently from that day forward, Kay has always been scared of being shocked by Raichu. Never mind what you're scared of, you self-centered psycho. Look at poor Raichu. The thing's terrified of you. You can try and make out it's just nervous because it can tell how afraid you are all you want. But we all know it's clearly more worried that you're gonna lob it at the wall again. Kay, mate, you're a horrible person. And a bit of a gaslighter as well. Direct quote from Roger.
Yes, the heart always tells the truth.
Well, not all the time, mate. Like, what if your heart tells you it'd be a good idea to disconnect the brakes on your mum's car? Oh yeah, that's it. Just taunt us with the Pokemon we wanted to see today. Cheers, Pokemon. Very cool. Just for future reference, look at what Team Rocket's torpedo is destroying here. The paddle wheel of the boat. You know, the thing that makes the boat move. Yet somehow, as we'll see later, the boat still functions completely fine and doesn't even sink, like not even a little bit. Do the writers of this show know how paddle steamers work? To be fair, they barely even know how Pokemon works. The blast launches Raichu across the deck, but Kay catches it before it can hit the floor. Raichu then shocks Kay out of fear, but Kay reassures Raichu that it's okay now because she's no longer afraid, and Raichu then stops shocking her and just stares at her. Problem solved, right? Kay's not scared of Raichu, and Raichu's not scared of Kay. Just wait. Team Rocket finally show themselves, and Meowth reveals that they've rigged the boat with explosives, and that if Ash and friends don't listen to their demands, they'll basically blow up the boat, it's implied. Seems a bit much, doesn't it? Why are Team Rocket always so quick to resort to murder. Roger tells Ash to do as Team Rocket say, stating that the boat is their livelihood and they can't afford to put it in jeopardy. I mean, sure, but what about your Pokemon? Can you really afford for Team Rocket to steal all of your Pokemon, even if it means you'll still have your boat? In the next scene, Roger begs Jessie not to steal the Pokemon, telling her to take anything she wants, just not the Pokemon. What if she wants to take the boat? Mate, you really need to figure out what your priority is and stick to it. Oh, blimey, all this talk of boats is making me thirsty. That's right, thirsty for adventure. Say hello to the Pokémon Explorer Collection, released today over at Zavvi, the planet of pop culture. The Pokémon Explorer Collection is inspired by the great outdoors and the effect Pokémon Go had on so many of us when it burst onto the scene in 2016, getting us out into our own world hunting down our favorite Pokémon. Zavvi is the one-stop shop for all your favorite franchises with exclusive products. And as you can see, they've really outdone themselves with the Pokémon Explorer Collection. What's more, you can use the promo code ATL20 for 20% off clothing or ATL10 for 10% off site-wide. Exclusions apply. I'm currently rocking the Marine Explorer Navy Wash t-shirt, as well as the Explorer Incognito Milliner cap in Military Olive. And these were kindly sent over by the wonderful people at Zavvi, so thank you very much for that, you lovely, lovely people. Hashtag add gifted. That's the one, isn't it? Hashtag add gifted. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description or head to acetrinilium.com/Zavvi, that's ZAVVI. Use promo code ATL20 for 20% off clothing or ATL10 for 10% off site-wide. Now then, where were we? Whilst Meowth is yelling at all the Pokemon about being their new master, Raichu shocks him so much he turns Japanese. Yeah, so the dubbing team may have forgotten to edit out Meowth's original Japanese voice here. I mean, it's a good thing that's not the literal thing they're paid to do. Oh wait, direct quote from James to Hitmonchan.
Can we be friends even though we're stealing from you?
But James, you're not stealing from them, you're stealing them. It's a bit different. Now, I'm no physics expert. In fact, I don't even know if this is a physics thing, but hear me out. When the Hitmonchan voice actor is shouting at Team Rocket, pretending that it's Hitmonchan who is talking, wouldn't the sound of his voice be coming from behind them because he's behind them and Hitmonchan is in front of them? Like, I'm pretty sure for most people it's really easy to tell if a sound is coming from behind you or in front of you, so I find it really weird that Team Rocket would fall for this. Plus, when they all start doing their different voices for all of the Pokemon there, how do the Pokemon know when to start flapping their lips and when to stop flapping their lips when this is a completely ad-lib situation? Like, why do none of them accidentally open their mouths before suddenly realizing that the voice actor for them was actually going to do some voice lines for one of the other characters they play? Answers on a postcard, I guess. Now, I know this isn't in the spirit of this episode, but is anyone else annoyed that up to this point, the Pokemon, who outnumber Team Rocket and aren't tied up, didn't just attack Team Rocket from the get-go? Like, why bother with all this fake talking Pokemon nonsense when they could have just battered Team Rocket anyway? Waste of time if you ask me. Hitmonchan uses Fire Punch and a few seconds later, James's headset's on fire. Mate, Hitmonchan got lucky with that 10% burn chance. I hardly ever get that lucky, especially when I need it most. Speaking of which, if you want to see how bad my luck is, check out Siri Battles every Sunday, where Sophie routinely batters me in Pokemon battles. Jessie sends out James's wheezing and tells it to use Smokescreen. What's wrong with your own Pokemon, Jessie? Why don't Lickitung or Arbok get a go? So because wheezing Smokescreen starts affecting Team Rocket as well, even though that's not how Smokescreen works, James decides to return wheezing to its Pokeball. Why though? Why not just say, Wheezing, can you stop using Smokescreen now, please? You might need him in a minute. Don't put him away until the job's done, mate. After Pikachu and Marill take care of Team Rocket, Kay runs over and grabs onto Raichu, who begins to shock her again. She tells Raichu she's no longer afraid, and Raichu then stops shocking her and turns to her looking all dumbfounded. Mate, we've already done this bit. Raichu, mate, get over it now, lad. We sorted this out ages ago. Ash asks Kay if she'd like to teach Team Rocket a lesson. And instead of going in with an attack, Kay gets Raichu to mime while she puts on a voice and spouts some rubbish about fighting to defend the ship. Ugh, just fight them already. In what universe is pretending your Raichu can talk gonna have any impact on the battle? Just get rid of the criminals and stop being a weirdo. Kay's Raichu uses Mega Punch and sends Team Rocket blasting off again, but not before they've smashed a massive hole in the side of the boat as their bodies are thrown through it. What was that Roger was saying about the boat being their livelihood? Because Raichu doesn't seem to give a toss. This phone conversation between Oak and Ash, where Oak's like,
A Pokemon showboat, eh?
and Ash is like,
And they put on shows where it looks like the Pokemon are all talking.
sounds exactly like when I was a kid and I tried to tell my parents about something they just didn't care about.
And then, Dad, Brock Lesnar went to the top rope and tried to do a shooting star press, but he landed right on his head and nearly broke his neck.
Oh, did he? Wow. Very interesting. As Ash puts the phone down, Kay runs over and wait, is this episode not over? Could have fooled me. So apparently wheezing smokescreen damaged Roger's throat and now he can't perform. I don't know, Roger. Everyone else got smokescreened and their voices are fine. Are you sure you didn't just fancy a night off? Roger is faking. Pass it on. They decide that Kay should fill in for Roger and do his lines for him, but remind me why Ash and friends needed to be here to help make this decision? Seriously, this whole bit feels so tacked on at the last minute that it's almost like the writers did a table read of the script and were like,
Cool, so how long was that?
17 minutes?
17? It's supposed to be a 20-minute runtime. Quick, scramble something together.
Ash says if they'll give them the chance, he and Pikachu would like to help out too. Why though? They have a show already with the script, the cast, and the sets all planned out. They've even already got a stand-in for the one member of the team who can't perform. Why would they need Ash and Pikachu? What you really mean, Ash, is...
Please let me and Pikachu join the show for no reason other than to extend the episode runtime.
It's alright, you can say it in front of us. Oh look, Pikachu's in the show, and Ash is doing voiceover for him. Thanks, I hate it. Direct quote from Ash.
It's hard to match the lip flaps, isn't it?
Ahaha, you get it? It's a dubbing joke, because the English voice actors have to match what the characters say to the pre-existing mouth movements of the characters. Very good, Pokemon, very fourth wall. Side note, there is actually a really interesting video about this that Vanity Fair released, and it features Ash's current voice actor, Sarah Natacheni. So if you are interested in seeing the process of how they dub Pokemon from Japanese to English, then I'll link it down in the description. Don't forget as well, the Zavvi link's down there too. Check out the Pokémon Explorer Collection. Oh, God. This Pokemon chorus lines section feels like it goes on forever. This is one of those scenes where I realize just how old and cynical I've grown to be. Because I imagine as a kid, I'd have loved this. The Pokemon are all dancing in a line to Pokemon World, and kid me would be bouncing along with it and thinking this is just the best thing ever. But as an adult, I'm just like, this goes on way too long. And they're not even dancing. They're just lifting one leg and then the other. And why did Squirtle and Marill get to be in the chorus line, but not Bulbasaur or Goldeen?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find that's because Bulbasaur can't really stand and dance on its hind legs, and Goldeen doesn't even have legs. That's crazy!
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it is still a bit of a cop-out reason. They could have easily had Bulbasaur using its vines to hold on to the Pokemon either side of it, and the Pokemon either side of Goldeen could have held on to its fins. I'm just trying to include everyone, that's all. Careful, you'll get accused of being political. We also get really awkward shots of Ash and Kay just rocking back and forth to the music with their mouths hanging open, even though they're not singing along or anything. It's just really creepy. The narrator ends the episode by saying that just like the showboat, our hero's journey will continue, and the show must go on. Just not this episode of the show. Hey, Pokemon. You get it? Because they don't show this episode anymore? So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon Season 2, Episode 10, Stage Fight. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head to acetraderliam.com/Zavvi. Use code ATL20 for 20% off clothing and ATL10 for 10% off site-wide. Go to twitch.tv/acetraderliam for all of my live streams. And until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.